Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I have a reading for someone who is being watched by many eyes right now. I feel like you might not even realize how many people are watching you. I think you kind of take it for granted. And this could be online, but this could also be in person. This could be in your workplace or in the community. But I feel like people are starting to notice you. But I think you're so focused on your work and focused on yourself, you don't really notice people noticing you all the time. Where maybe someone like checks you out on the street, you don't even notice. You're totally oblivious. So you might have that feeling of like, oh, I wish I was like one of those people who had everyone staring at them all the time when they walk past. But it's like, you are. You just don't notice it because you're so much in your head. But let's pull some cards and get into this feeling. Okay, the Ace of Cups. So I feel like right now you are overflowing with inspiration, maybe with creative output, or just there's something about you that when you walk into a room, there's this overflow. It's not like you're holding anything back. You're being so authentically yourself that it just fills up the room with your presence, basically. Or when you talk to someone, it's like you have this overflow of creative ideas that just inspires them so much too, because you're so inspired. Like, you can just pick up on any thread and find inspiration in it. And I feel like this is really your strength, is that you've learned how to tap into this well inside of yourself, and it's almost like this well just never runs dry. But at the same time, there is a way to feed into this well a little bit, just to ensure that it's doing its job, tapped into the aquifer and all that. So let's see how you can do that. Ooh, the Tower. Okay, so I feel like it's like accepting these tower moments in our life with grace and dignity, really facing our challenges with strength, because where you can lose this inspiration is when something happens in your life that feels like maybe a bit of a setback or something really difficult to face, and then you retreat and you just go, okay, I give up, I'm done. And I don't want to face my challenge. I don't want to admit to the things that have happened to me. Like, I don't want to talk about it. I want to pretend it didn't happen, right? And that's when this well dries up. Then it feels like you can't be your true self because you can't accept these moments of change or moments of desperation or of grief. But when you learn to face these moments with just this sense of dignity, really, of like, I understand that what happens to me is for my own good in a way. Like, even if it's something really painful, even if I condemn the actions, even if it's something that you could just say is objectively bad, like losing someone important to you is of course objectively bad, like it hurts, but there's so many lessons to be learned in it. And when you face those moments with dignity and strength, it shows other people that they can face those moments with dignity and strength as well, right? It's a kind of feeling of just being really strong. And like, being strong doesn't mean that you don't grieve in the way you need to, you don't get sad sometimes, right? Everyone does. Everyone has these moments of pain. And that's what makes these moments so important, is that we're all learning to face them together. And when you really try to find the light in the darkness there, that's when you can inspire yourself and inspire others. Because when you sink into that darkness, that's when you lose your spark. But the spark is always there, it just needs to be rekindled. So if you've had some moments in your life that kind of felt like the tower has been struck with lightning and everything's falling apart, just understand your spark was never missing, right? It's just a matter of kindling it up, blowing on the spark until it becomes a flame again. Right, the Ace of Swords. So there is this feeling of starting a kind of a new journey in some ways, where I feel like in some ways you might be almost like a thought leader is what I'm getting. Like, I feel like you have some new thoughts that really shake people up in a way, and that's kind of what makes them want to watch you. Where sometimes there's people and they'll have the same conversations over and over, or they'll have the same conversation with everyone that they talk to that day, of just, oh, did you see what was in the news? What's your opinion on this? And it's really just a surface level, like, what did you watch on TV today? But I feel like you come in and you shake something up. You show people a new perspective that they hadn't thought about before, or you inspire them in some ways. Like, you might even inspire people to work on their own creative projects or come up with a creative project just from a conversation that you had with them. And I feel like there's just something in your energy where it feels like you're always charging ahead. And it feels like you are really at like the edge of something, like a cutting edge is what I'm getting, where you have these ideas that are really unique because they come from your true authentic self. It's not something like you're trying to think about what would be successful in the world, like what is going to impress my peers, what is going to impress my parents, but it's really just about, what do I want to do? Like, what is my truth? What do I want to share with the world? And this is what makes it so cutting edge, because there is no precedent for it. There's no one who's told you, okay, this is the type of art or work, writing, even science, if that's your thing. Like, this is the type of thing that's acceptable and successful in this world, right? You've forgotten all of that, and you're just like, I'm doing my own thing. It doesn't matter if it's going to be well received. Like, I'm just doing it because I want to, and I'm just saying the things that I say because I believe them to be true, not because I think it's going to impress anyone or because I think I'm going to get rejected if I don't say the right things. No, it's really just about I am speaking from my heart, from my truth in every moment. And this is what makes you so cutting edge. And people just can't help but watch it because it's something new. It's like, oh, this is something that's very different. You're breaking the mold. All right, the Four of Cups. So I feel like there's a sense of being offered this opportunity, but that sometimes it's being rejected. And I think this is almost in the energy of people who watch you, of like we're all given this calling to speak from our true authentic self, but not everyone takes the call. Sometimes people just let it ring and ring. But I feel like you're someone who has accepted the call into this new way of being where, again, like I mentioned, you're speaking and acting from the heart, just this true center. And I feel like people watch you and see, so I feel like people watch you and say, I wish I could be more like that. Like, I feel like that's what everyone is thinking when they look at you. It's like, I wish I could be that confident. I wish I could express myself so honestly. I wish I didn't have any fear of shame or rejection. And I feel like this is something that it's almost like you're teaching these people a lesson over time, but they might not be willing to accept it at first. So maybe you have even had conversations with people about this where they say, I really want to do this, but I'm scared of failure. And you really inspire them and hype them up, and they really say, okay, you know what, I am going to do it. I feel better about it, and I know that this is my calling. But then a few years pass, you check up on them, they still haven't made any progress really, or they haven't shared anything with the world. And it's like, they haven't quite got the message just yet, but that's because we are all working on sharing this message with each other. Sometimes this message needs to be delivered to 100, 1,000, 10,000 times before you finally get the call where something clicks and you say, okay, it's time for me to start. It's time for me to be the one who everyone's looking at, who is inspiring other people, right? But I think even if these people are not necessarily at the same level of output as other people who are a little bit more famous or in the public eye, at the end of the day, we are all on the same journey. Like, we're all have this power within us to share things from our heart. But I feel like I'm talking to you specifically because you're someone who's made some progress and you're starting to understand that this has been a really rewarding journey for you. But the one part you're missing is that feeling of understanding that people really are inspired by you. Like, it's so much more than you could ever imagine because you just can't read everyone's thoughts. Like, I feel like you might be a kind of intuitive person. You might be able to pick up on some things that people are thinking sometimes, or some collective energies. I think you can read a room really well, but you don't know exactly what everyone's thinking about you right now. Like, if you think about, you post something on social media and 100 or a few hundred people see it, you don't know what every single one of those people thought when they looked at you or what you're posting. But I feel like probably a lot of them were thinking, wow, this person is so confident and creative and honest and just so true to themselves. That inspires me so much. Like, that's really the energy that I'm getting when people look at you. And similarly, just like when you walk down the street, I think people say, wow, that person walks with so much confidence. They don't seem all like scared to be themselves. They're just really embodying their true nature. And that's just so inspiring. Like, you almost glow when you walk down the street or when you walk into a room. And I feel like in settings in your community or maybe at your workplace, I feel like people are really inspired by you because, again, you are so true to yourself that you'll stand up for what you really believe in. So maybe there was an incident where something happened and you felt like, you know what, that's not right. Like, maybe you saw some incident of bullying and you stepped in, or you just voiced your concern and said, you know what, I don't think that's right. And sometimes people who are still caught up in this feeling of not getting the message, they're not going to back you up. They're going to sit there and be silent, and because they're scared to voice their opinion, even if they might agree with you. So it could feel like sometimes you're getting rejected, where it's like, wow, I can't believe I was the only one in the room who thought that wasn't okay. But the truth is that probably the majority of the room was in agreement with you, but they just couldn't speak their truth in the same way. You could think of it as like a blocked throat chakra or something like that. Like, it's just not everyone can speak their truth right away. It takes a lot of time for them to be able to do this, but you can trust that all those people in in that moment were thinking, wow, this person is so brave to be voicing their truth, and it's so wonderful that they can stand up for other people. And similarly, in your community, sometimes you might almost be the mouthpiece for what people are feeling, almost on a collective level or on a personal level. Or maybe you've had some intimate conversations with people where they share what they're looking for out of a community space or just what they want to see in the world. But when it comes to a time to actually voice their opinions, they might be a little bit shy or they might be holding back. So you could be the mouthpiece for them to say, I think this is what people really want. I think this is what I want more of. And it's almost like a politician is what I'm getting, like you're speaking for the people. And this also speaks to collective energies. Like I mentioned, I think you can pick up on collective energies and understand what people need. Like, this could be in a workplace, in a community environment, or maybe in your family as well, as you understand just what people need right in that moment. And I feel like that's something people really respect and admire about you, is like, wow, it's so incredible how you put my feelings into words. Like, you knew what I needed and you were able to express it in such a honest way that just really felt like they felt seen by you. So that's the thing, is like, you might not even be seeing these specific people or understanding the impact that you have on their lives, but they feel seen by you because you're expressing your true self, and there's a kernel of that truth in them too, about these feelings that we all have. Or maybe it's not always the exact same feeling. Like, sometimes you might say something that you were thinking and honestly you were the only person thinking that, but it's just so brave for you to express something that you were honestly thinking, even if you're the only one who's thinking that. Because I think we all get that feeling sometimes. It's like, wow, I can't believe I'm the only one. Like, I feel like I just have to share this just to see if anyone else is feeling that. And that is such a brave action to take, because that inspires people to do that in other contexts as well. So it's like I mentioned in this example of some sort of workplace bullying or something like that, and you stand up and you say, you know what, I don't think this is okay, and you're the only one who said that. That could inspire someone to be in another setting. Like, maybe they have a family history of abuse or something, and then they're the only one who or they feel like they're the only one who's thinking about that or talking about that. And so they feel emboldened to say, well, you know what, even if no one else in the family is talking about this, I'm going to be the one to bring it up, right? So I feel like you really inspire people to find the kernel of truth in themselves to express in any given situation. And I think it's just something so brave about you. Wow, I'm being moved by this. No, it's really sweet, because it is just true. It makes people feel comforted when you're your authentic self. Alright, so we have the Seven of Swords. So this is like walking away from the battle, but taking the most valuable materials. So I feel like you kind of left behind some of these ego games, or this feeling of being adversarial. Like, I feel like you don't want to fight with people. I feel like you just want to encourage people. But this doesn't mean that you have to leave the whole world behind, right? Because there are so many gems of inspiration to be found in conversations with other people. And it doesn't have to be like a battle. Even if you feel like on a surface level you might be disagreeing with someone, you would be surprised at how much you could get along when you just leave the battle behind and think, what is the valuable material in this conversation? And the valuable material is this overflow of inspiration for both parties. And you know what? It's true, there are some people who maybe might be a little difficult to talk to, just because they, it's like a challenge scale, right? Like, the more progress you make in your journey, the better you can talk to every single person. So maybe sometimes you can only talk to like 50% of people, then you get to like 75, and then there's like that 1% of people who are just so, they make it difficult because they try to push people away, right? But I feel like you're getting to that point where even if someone tries to play some ego game where you can tell that they push away everyone in their lives, you break through to that and you're like, well, actually, how can I inspire you to find some confidence in yourself, some love in your life? Because when people are really difficult to talk to, it really comes from this place of self-hatred and self-sabotage, where they're just pushing people away because at their core, they don't believe that they're deserving of love. They don't believe that they're deserving of being seen. And I feel like this is something that you perceive in people that makes you a lot more compassionate, where usually someone would just be like, oh, that's a bitch, that's an asshole, they're just such a rude person. But I feel like you see through that and see, like, you know what, this is a person who's deserving of compassion. They're obviously hurt in some ways, and this is like their defense mechanism to push people away. But I feel like you go through that and you say, you know what, the valuable material that I can take away from this conversation is that I can inspire them to just find a little bit more confidence in their self and not feel like they have to hide behind this veneer of just being really adversarial and fighting all the time. Right, so the Two of Swords. So I feel like this is really a decision you have to make, right? There is this feeling of, do I want to stay in the dark, or do I want to follow my intuition? And I think staying in the dark is this feeling of not willing to admit that people have eyes on you, of just, you know what, I'm just little me, I'm just doing my thing, no one cares about me, right? That this will influence the type of things that you're doing in the world. But when you follow your intuition on this level that you know that people are watching you, you know that you're making an impact, this allows you to transform something about the way that you exist in the world, where you're taking this attention and you're turning it into a valuable material for you. Like, it's almost like this essence that you can then transmute into something else, right? You're turning people's attention into money, or you're turning it into business partnerships, or you're turning it into just fans of your work, maybe. But if you are not willing to acknowledge it and you just have this mentality of like, no one's looking at me, no one cares about me, it's like you're letting this valuable material that is attention slip through your fingers. So it's about understanding that this is something that's available to you and you need to follow your intuition. If you feel like people have eyes on you at this point, like you've made enough progress that people are watching you, then it is probably true. And you could even find some objective measure to this if you really wanted to. You could just look at how many people are watching your social media posts on a daily basis and imagine a room filled with that many people. Like, don't just think of it as numbers, because sometimes that's hard to do, right? But imagine a room with that many people watching you talk or share your art or whatever you do online, and this will really put it in perspective for you. Or maybe when you're walking on the street next time, instead of just, being in your thoughts or looking down at the ground, like, put your eyes up to the sky and look around. You'll notice that when people walk past you, they look at you. And it can be almost like a little bit weird if you're not used to doing this. You're like, why is everyone looking at me today? It's like, no, you just started paying attention now. All right, let's draw one more card to close out this reading. Okay, the Queen of Swords. So I feel like you are really stepping onto your throne in a way. And wow, we got a lot of swords energies coming out in this reading. So I feel like it really is this feeling of like not overthinking, but also using your logic in the best way possible, right? So where you get caught up in overthinking is like, oh, are people gonna like me? What are they thinking about me? Right? You don't need to worry about that. The logic is, like I just explained, people are paying attention to me and I can do something with this attention. So it's about placing your thoughts in the right place, right? Your thoughts should not be something that sabotage you or hold you back, but they should be something that give you an opportunity. That, logic and cognition is a very valuable skill to us. It opens up so many doors to us. So we need to be using it for the right purpose and not allowing it to hurt us, because sometimes we can get so caught up in our thoughts. But, our mental activity is not always the enemy. Sometimes it can be good for us, but it's just, again, about learning to wield it, like wielding a sword. And I feel like you're stepping into your Queen of Swords energy, where you're able to wield it very gracefully and justly, where you understand, these are the things that my thoughts should be directed at, or these are things that are just hurting me more. So really the sense that I'm getting is you're someone who also gives this instruction to other people in a way. Like, you're very decisive. Like, if someone came to you with an idea for a project or something like that, I feel like you're someone who would point them in the right direction, or you would give them the next step that they need to take in that project, and it would be like you're really seeing the way. And I feel like it really comes through with this sense of logic, or really just this intelligence that you possess. And I feel like this is something that is really what you grant to other people. And I feel like this is also why people watch you, is because they think you've cracked the code. And I think you have in some ways. But again, it's like this message that they're refusing to receive, because everyone is given the opportunity to crack the code. It's really not such a mystery at all. It's quite straightforward when you get down to it. But I think people see you as someone who has just figured things out, and you're kind of wise in that sense, or you could give them some specific direction. So I feel like that's why people really like watching you, is like, how do you do it? Is kind of the sense that I'm getting. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking about you right now. So if you feel like you have eyes on you, don't be worried about it. This is a great thing, right? Like I mentioned, attention is a very valuable resource. They all say we live in an attention economy. So don't be worried. Don't slip back into any feelings of self-doubt or shame or anything like that. Like, just move forward and use this valuable attention that you've earned to do something great in the world. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in a custom reading, they will be $25 Canadian for 20 minutes for a pre-recorded reading until the end of February. So if you're interested in one of those, please send me an email. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.